unfortunately, the footage for episode 3 was lost. The file was corrupted for some reason, and I apologize for that, but we will continue with episode 4 here, and I apologize once again, and I hope you continue to enjoy this series. Hello, DV here, back with another episode of Ironsworn, the Playing God Apothecary campaign. We are back with Dag of Valemark. Last episode, we were able to heal yet another sick villager. We healed 2 villagers so far. We healed one guy from blurry vision, Kione, and then we started to forge a bond with Kione. Then we had a cowardly hunter come in with euphoric visions. We were able to heal him. So far we've been able to heal everyone successfully, and so we haven't increased the ire of the children of the light here in Valemark so far. However, I think I want to pursue increasing my bond with Kione. And right now our bond with Kione is only 2 strength, so it's not super progressed at this moment. And I want to start forging a bond with him he's a mystic, and he wants to overthrow the Mystic Kova and Child Keenan as well. Which is the same thing as my vow, swearing vengeance against Child Keenan for beating my grandparents. And so I feel like if I can maybe increase my relationship with Kione, then perhaps that will help pursue a greater progress with my background vow of swearing vengeance. And then at the end of the last episode, we did upgrade our herbalist skills. We with all of the herb searching and picking that we've been doing, all of the herbal remedies we've been making recently, it allowed us to learn new things and figure out new ways we could heal our companions and allies. And so now we're that much more. We're no longer just a novice herbalist. We've now become maybe a journeyman herbalist. And so I feel like we're well on our way to becoming an expert. We haven't really utilized our alchemy yet, so I think we might do this as part of our quest today. Maybe make a potion that we can use to help us along our way. Our current supply is at 3, our spirit is at 4, our health is at 5, our momentum is at 2, and I realized looking over my last episode where I had that combat with the blade wings, I don't think I was doing it exactly correct. Of course, solo play, it's correct as long as you're having fun, I guess. But I think I should have been giving myself momentum every time I got a hit with my long arm, and so I should be really at higher momentum than 2. I'm not going to worry about that though. We can progress that as we go. Anyway, so I think we will seek out Kione in the village and see what we can find out for progressing our bond with them. So let's go have a chat with Kione. Okay, so we seek out Kione and find them puttering around in the village doing their mystical tasks, whatever those may entail. And we find out after talking to him that there is a threat to the community. So I rolled an 86 on activity, and then I rolled a 66 on theme, and come to find out there is a threat to Valemark currently. There is a contingent of children of the light that are on their way here that are from a nearby village. And what is that nearby village called? Axe Crag. So Axe Crag is a nearby settlement. And when I say nearby, it's all relative, right? So is it to the north, east, west, or south? So we're going to roll a D10, and we'll say Okay, so I rolled a 3. That we're going to call that a west. So 1 is north, 2 is east, 3 is south, 4 is west, and then if it was a 5 or 6, we would just go back around once again. So let's take a look at the world map then, or we'll look at the region map. We're here at Valemark, and we're going to say that Axe Crag. That sounds like something else, doesn't it? They have a settlement of a similar size, we'll say. Maybe we'll say it's a slightly larger settlement to the west in this little. It's right before you get to that little valley through this mountain range here. It's going to be Axe Crag, and we're going to pop that down right there. And they are sending a contingent of children to check in with Child Keenan and Kova, and maybe there's a higher ranking child of the light here in Axe Crag, and they want to make sure everything's all ship shape here in Valemark. And that could mean trouble, because the Kenan might want to make an example of, say, me or someone. And so our friend, our burgeoning friendship with Kione, has given us a little bit of prior warning about Axe Crag here and this contingent coming. So when we need to decide what do we want to do in preparation for them coming, I think we want to perhaps prepare first with some alchemy. So we're talking with Kione, and he thinks that perhaps we could set up something to make Child Keenan look bad. Yes. So what can we do to make Child Keenan look bad? Let's roll and find out. Mourn depleted. In order to make Child Keenan look bad, we can present ourselves, maybe, okay, I've got an idea. I can brew a potion first that will give either slyness or clarity, one of the two, to Kione. And he can speak with this new group and convince them that Child Keenan is skimming money from the church and putting it into his own pocket. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna brew a slyness potion. And I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna go in and steal some of the tithing coin from the temple. So everyone that has coin, they tithe it to the temple on a monthly basis, or if they don't have coin, if they're just do barter, then they give some sort of goods that is then peddled to the local peddlers that come every few weeks and exchange goods for coin. But there should be some either coin or goods that we can temporarily steal, not for our own benefit, but just to make Child Keenan look bad. So, so it's like taxes, tithes, right? So we'll say the contingent from Axe Crag is coming to get the latest installment of tithes, and if we are able to steal that from the temple before they get here, then perhaps it will make Child Keenan look bad, like he's been skimming off the top and enriching himself. All right, so fantastic. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a new vow here. We're going to create a new track. We're going to do a vow. This is going to be, I don't know, how difficult was this going to, we're going to say it's troublesome. And it is in progress, and we are going to steal the tithes from the temple. So we're going to help Kione steal the tithes from the temple in order to make Child Keenan fail in front of the Axe Crag contingent. All right, so I swear I go to the center of the square and I put my hand on the iron pillar and I swear to Kione and to the Lord of the Light that I will help make this right. The Kenan shall not further steal from the church and enrich himself. We will set this wrong aright. And so, at the same time, that will help increase my bond also with Kione. So if we're able to do this mission successfully, it will increase our bond with Kione. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to do some alchemy here. So I'm going to create a potion. So I go back to my house and I look in all my ingredients and find all of the things that would require me to increase my slyness, my shadow ability. And I boil the herbs and crush them in the mortar and pestle and distill them and move them from beaker to beaker until I create this dark black potion. I taste it. It's bitter, very, very bitter, and it burns when it goes down my throat. And that uses up a little bit of my supply. And now we're going to have to roll wits to create a single dose. So I'm going to decrease my supply, and now I have to roll wits. How can I roll wits? Oh, I can just do a manual roll. There we go. Okay, cool. So let's just roll wits here. Manual roll wits, and it is a weak hit. Okay, I rolled a 5, and my challenge dice are 3 and a 7. Alright, so on a strong hit, you create a single dose. The character who consumes the elixir must face danger iron and score a hit, after which they add +1 when making moves with the related stat until their health, spirit, or momentum fall below +1. On a weak hit, same as above, but we suffer an additional -1 supply to create it. Okay, so we did use up an additional supply because it was just a weak hit. So now we're down to 1 momentum. But we are going to try to now do our face danger roll. And we're going to use iron, right? Yes, face danger iron. All right, so I drank the potion. And let's see what happens. If we score a hit, then we will get the boost. If we fail, we'll get a bane of some sort. So let's see if we can do this. Come on, face danger with iron. All right, here we go. It is a strong hit. Take 1 momentum. So I drink this bitter, disgusting potion, and I feel it coursing through my body, and I suddenly feel more lithe and agile, and I feel like I can sneak around, and I'm generally less noticeable. Like, even if someone sees me, the mystic energy from this alchemic concoction allows me to be less noticeable. Like, even if they see me, like, they don't really notice what I'm doing, right? I just kind of fade into the background of their consciousness. And so it's like when you're walking down the street and there are, dozens of other people walking around. You don't really notice those people. You don't really see what they're doing unless you're particularly paying attention. And so that's kind of the way I am now. And so I am going to go into town, and I'm going to try to secure an advantage by watching the goings in and out of this temple around this metal pillar. The pillar in Valemark is outside of the temple, but there behind it is a long stone longhouse that they have put so that the children and the mystics can preach about the Lord of the Light and perform his miracles and do things of that nature. So I'm going to go and I'm going to sneak over there with my secure and advantage using shadow, +1 by the way, from my potion. and we are going to see if we can watch the inner goings in and out of this temple and gather some insight about when is the best time to sneak in. Oh no, and I miss. I rolled a 4 and my challenge dice are a 4 and a 10. I have to pay the price. Dang, that really stinks. Alright, so I was not able to do that. Let's pay the price. What is going to be the price that we pay? I'm just going to endure stress because I feel like that's the price I'm going to pay. I'm going to endure stress and I persevere, but we're going to say that it does lower my spirit by 1 because even though I watch, I can't see what's going on in the inside. I see people coming and going, but I don't see Child Keenan or Kova coming or going from the temple. And so what we're going to do is let's see if we can... You know what? I never did swear my vow. So let's go ahead and do that first. Let's swear an iron vow. And we're going to swear it with heart. Lower that to 0. Strong with a positive twist. Okay. I'm emboldened and it's clear what I must do next. And I take 2 momentum. Okay, that's good. Because since I didn't swear the vow before, I'm able to do this now. And so whenever I swear the vow and I get this strong positive twist, I notice that Child Keenan and Kova walk out together, their heads down, talking amongst themselves out of the temple, and they walk into a nearby longhouse, presumably where they stay or where they take their meals or something. And it's starting to come like sundown, and I know that the next day is whenever the contingent from Axe Crag is going to arrive. So I really need to go ahead and make some progress here. So I'm emboldened and it's clear what I must do next. Take 2 momentum. And I'm going to go ahead and increase this by 1 due to them leaving the temple. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and sneak into the temple. And I'm not going to roll to sneak into the temple just yet. I'm just going to roll a dice odds. I'm going to say, is it likely that, or can I sneak into the temple without anyone seeing me? I'm going to say it's getting dusky out, and I know Kenan and Kova have just left. I'm going to give myself likely odds. Can I sneak in to the temple? Yes, I can. I rolled 30. That's fantastic. So I successfully sneak into the temple, and I'm going to start looking around trying to find where the tithes are stored. So I'm going to gather information. Alright, so if you act within a community or ask questions of a person with whom you share a bond, add +1. I'm going to give myself the +1 because I feel like I've probably discussed with Kona, with Kione, or Kione, where these tithes are stored. And so I probably have a good idea where they are. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little search for them. And I get a strong hit. Fantastic. I'm looking around in the temple, and I remember that he said that beneath the altar near the back of the temple, they keep a strong box where people can come and drop their coins into this slot, into this strong box. And so I sneak back there, and sure enough, I see this strong box here, and I gain 2 momentum. And now I need to try to get the items from this strong box without making a lot of noise. You know, obviously I can just smash it, but I feel like that would make a lot of noise. So I'm going to try to face danger with shadow, which will give me another +1 using my potion. And I'm going to try to stealthily pick the lock on this lockbox. This shadow is not my strong suit, so you know, we don't know if we're going to be very successful, but I'm going to work my way in with some little pieces of metal and see if I can feel the tumblers inside of this lock on this strong box. Ooh, and I get another strong hit. I scored a 9 versus a 6 and a 3. Success, I take another momentum. Now I'm able to reach into this strong box and I remove several handfuls of gold and silver and copper coins of different weights and different amounts. And I try to start stuffing them into my pack as quietly as I can. And now I'm going to go ahead and I take a peek outside of the temple and make sure that no one is around. And I leave just a couple of coppers and a couple of gold coins in the strongbox so that it looks like if it was all gone, they would say, oh, we've been robbed. But leaving some of it in there, it'll make it more like he's skimming off the top. And so I'm going to try to sneak out. And even better than having this in my possession, I'm going to try to plant this into Kenan's bunk, into his house. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move out of the temple as quickly. You know what? I'm just going to walk out like nothing is wrong, like I was just in there praying. And so I'm going to walk on out of the temple. And a few people are walking by and they see me and I give them a little wave and they nod back. It's not that unusual for someone to go into the temple and pray or to give their tithes. This is a little risky because people will see me leaving. You know, they might put 2 and 2 together later, but I feel like I've been rolling so well so far that that is not the case. So I'm going to give myself a milestone for that. And I think I'm going to reach a milestone. And we don't get a stat with that. We're just going to go ahead and mark some progress on our thing here. So we reached a milestone. All right. So now that we have that, I'm going to go speak to Kione. And so I find Kione in their home, and they're cooking a nice stew, and they invite me to partake in the stew. And so we sat down together and we're discussing the coins that I found. And I asked Kione if they can tell us where Child Keenan's home is. And I feel like I'm going to have to do a compel move on this to see if they will. Let's compel them. Let's convince them to tell us where Child Keenan's home is. And we will plant the evidence in their house. And I'm going to use Shadow for that also because I get a +1. And I'm going to use my bond with them as well, which would be a +2. So I feel like this is a very likely thing that they probably will be willing to tell me where that is. There is a weak hit. So they tell me what we want to know. They tell me where to find Child Keenan's home. But they want us to do something in return. So I'm going to take 1 momentum. Okay. And I'm going to say they're going to ask me, well, let's just see what the Oracle says. What do they want me to do? What would they like me to do? Focus, pillaged. Focus, pillaged. So whenever they want me to go in and plant this evidence, they would like me to also make some journal entries in their journal, speaking with glee on how much money they've been able to pilfer from the community. So that might be a little bit more difficult, but we're going to try our best to go ahead and do that. And so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wait until nightfall with Kione here. And we're going to wait until we think Child Keenan and Kova, they share a home. We're going to wait till they are asleep. And then I'm going to sneak into their house and plant this evidence. Both the journal entry and the goods, the money. After we're successful, we'll forge our bond higher with Kione, but I don't think we'll forge our bond just yet with them. All right, so we wait until night has fallen, the village has gone quiet. You hear the crickets and the frogs or whatever nightlife is in this area doing their nightly rituals, calling out for mates, looking for food, and we are looking for an opportunity to sneak into Child Keenan's house. Alright, so I'm going to try to sneak in to their house. So I feel like that's going to be a face danger with shadow. And I do get a +1 from our potion still. And so we're going to try to sneak in and plant this evidence into their house. Oh no! Challenge 10-10, miss with a negative twist. No. Now I could burn some momentum. I have to be less than my current momentum value. That gives you an automatic hit. I've got the worst roll possible, a 10 and a 10. There's no way I can burn that because I've only got an 8. Okay. Wow. So you know what that means. I am sneaking in to Child Keenan's house. And do they wake up and find us there? I'm going to say the odds are likely with this negative twist that they wake up and find us there. No, they do not. Oh my gosh. Even with likely odds, they do not wake up. However, oh my gosh. Wow. What can happen instead then? Block a path. Calamity Oracle. Block a path. So, as I'm making my way to his place where he normally stores his money, according to Kione, I noticed that it's locked. And not only is it locked, there's like tons of stuff stacked on top of it, so people can't just come in and unlock it and grab what's in there. So, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to make a roll to remove this blockage from his strongbox, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lose a little more stress or spirit, due to failing in that roll. So now I'm down to 2 spirit. Oof. If I get below 1 spirit or 1 health or 1 momentum, I will lose my potion effect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I think I will face danger once again. All right, and I'm going to get shadow, and I'm going to add my +1 from my thing. Can I remove all of this stuff quietly enough to get to his strongbox? Oof, a weak hit. I succeed, but face a troublesome cost. Choose one. I'm delayed, I lose advantage, or face a new danger. Suffer 1 momentum. Okay. I'm tired or hurt, I endure harm. Or I'm dispirited or afraid, endure stress. Or I sacrifice resources, -1 supply. I think I'll suffer 1 momentum, so I am able to move all of this stuff off of his strongbox, but it takes me longer than I think. And he's starting to shift around from all the noise in his bed nearby. And so it's getting more and more difficult to get this done. All right, so we're going to try to face danger one more time. Can I unlock the lockbox now using shadow and get this coin into his lockbox? Oof, another weak hit. Oh no, scored a 6, and my challenge dice as a 7 and a 4. Now I do have 7. I could burn and get a strong hit. Okay. Chosen to burn momentum. The results are calculated automatically. Reset the momentum when your move is complete. Oh no, it has to be. If both challenge dice are less than your momentum, you may cancel them both for a strong hit. Okay, it has to be less than, so that doesn't work. I'm not going to burn my momentum because that doesn't work. I wanted to burn the 7, but I can't because I'd have to have 8, but I only have 7. Okay, dang. All right, so I can't burn momentum. So I'm gonna. I did get a weak hit, and so with face danger with a weak hit, I'm gonna say that I open up his lockbox, but the lockpick slips a little bit and cuts my hand and gives me a little bit of harm. And so, despite the wound to my hand, I'm able to open up this lockbox and place the coins in. And now I'm going to try to find his secret journal here. So I'm going to make a little search for his journal and see if I can find it. Okay, I got a strong hit. Fantastic. I discover his journal tucked in one of his desk drawers, and I'm going to take 2 momentum, which gives me up to 9, which is fantastic. And so, I don't know why this is still on there, but that's okay. I decided not to burn momentum, but that's remaining on there. So I carefully open up his journal, and I write in some entries about how much money he's been able to successfully pilfer from the tithe box. And so after I do so, I put everything back the way it was. And can I do so without making any noise? I'm going to face danger one last time with a +1 to my shadow. Can I face danger one last time? Oof, a weak hit. Oh my god. I could burn momentum, but it'd still be just a weak hit. I succeed, but I face another troublesome cost. So we will say that I do put everything back in place, but it does take me a little bit of time, and so I'm going to lose 1 momentum. And so now I'm down to 8 momentum, and but I successfully plant the evidence into Child Keenan's place, and I see he has a pitcher of wine on his desk side table that he presumably will drink in the morning. And I hawk a loogie and I spit it into his wine, and then I make my way quietly out of his house and head back to Keone's. Does anyone see me as I make my way back to Keone's house? I'm going to say we'll give it small chance. I will say it unlikely because I do have my potion. Okay, so nobody sees me as I make way back to Keone's. All right, so I head back to Keone's. Oh, let's go ahead and make a. Okay, we were able to steal the tithes, and we were able to plant it as evidence against Child Keenan. So I think we can say that we want to fulfill our vow on that from stealing the tithes on the temple. Okay, we'll fulfill our vow. Here we go. We're going to roll the challenge dice with this track selected and see if we fulfill our vow. Ooh, a weak hit. The quest is complete. Mark experience, 1 for troublesome, and remove it from the list. So it doesn't matter that it was just a weak hit. It still is complete, and so fantastic. We are able to complete that, and we give ourselves 1 experience point for that as well. So we're going to go up to 3 experience. Fantastic. Oh man, that's great. Oh, I can do my mod here instead of doing it down here. Okay, that's good. That'll be easier. Alright, so for now I've got this 1 modified shadow. Fantastic. Alright, so we were able to steal the tithes and plant the evidence on Child Keenan. And so now I'm going to increase my bond with Kione here. I don't think I have to roll for that. I think just telling them about the things that we did helps increase our bond with Kione. So that's fantastic. Alright. And so the next day, the whole village, including Dag of Valemark, we all gather around the metal pillar as the contingent from Axe Crag comes, and they get off their horses, and it's another night. It's another child of the light. And what is their name? All right, so Edda. And what kind of character is Edda here? Let's see what they are. Oh, they are a former criminal. Interesting. Oh, interesting. Mm. So I wonder if they too are pillaging from the church. They are avoiding wilds, so they're kind of scared. They're scared of like being out in the woods. So they're very accustomed to settled places. And what kind of disposition? They are curious about what's been going on here in Valemark. And what's their goal? They want to avenge a wrong. Oh, so maybe they are suspicious. You know how some people, whenever they are guilty of a thing, they're more suspicious of other people being guilty of that same thing. So perhaps since Child Edda, since she's been skimming off the top from the church, perhaps she too suspects that Child Keenan is. And so as they're having a discussion, preaching the boons of serving the Lord of the Light, they then move into the temple, and as a part of a ceremonial process, the money is removed from the lockbox by Child Keenan and presented to Child Edda as part of the ceremony. And so everyone is supposed to be there for that part of this. It's supposed to be like a celebratory thing. Now, look what we have committed to the church. Look what we have contributed. And so they go in there, and Child Keenan is very smug. He's a very smug individual, and he's smug as he's opening up the lockbox because he feels like there's a good donation in here. He's been watching the box, and he knows that the donation is very good this month. But when he reaches in and he finds only a handful of coins, and he puts those into the waiting lockbox of Child Edda, you can see his face kind of falls, and he looks very suspicious. But at the same time, he looks like very, very worried. And what is the reaction from Child Edda? Does she immediately respond? I must say it's likely. Does she immediately call him out? Yes. So she makes a statement, something like,
"In your letter, you had mentioned a very good donation this month. Where is the money, Child Keenan?"
And he starts to stammer about it. He's like, I don't know. Someone has obviously stolen this. This is terrible. And Kione stands up. Being a priest, they have the right to speak during the ceremony. And he says something along the lines of, Child Keenan has been acting very suspicious lately. Perhaps we should go check his home and see if he has been pilfering the lockbox. And Child Keenan that's preposterous. I would never do such a thing. I would never do such a thing. And Child Edda narrows her eyes and says,
"If you're innocent, then we shall find nothing. If not, then we shall see."
And so we all gather outside of Child Keenan's house, and we see that the priests and the children of the light all walk into the home. And you hear yelling and screaming, I can't believe this. Someone has done this to me. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. And we see a few minutes later that they have bound Child Keenan's hands and placed him on a horse. And Child Edda makes an announcement to the village that Child Keenan is guilty of stealing from the Lord of the Light, the most egregious of all crimes, stealing from the Lord. And so she's going to take him back to Axe Crag to be tried for his crimes and most likely executed. And everybody's very shocked. And she makes an announcement that soon another child will be sent from Axe Crag to serve. But in the meantime, Kova will continue to lead Valemark until a child can be issued forth to replace Child Keenan. And so the contingent leaves the village, and I'm going to increase. I'm going to say that was a pretty significant vengeance against Child Keenan. So I'm going to say we're going to give ourselves 3 progress from that, because, well, maybe even, let's go 4 progress. I feel like that was a very good vengeance against Child Keenan. I've been saying Kenan, so I'm just going to change it. I feel like that was very, very good. Like we made a lot of progress towards our vengeance there. Now, is our vengeance just against Child Keenan or the church overall? And I feel like it's really against the church. So I'm going to put in parentheses the church, because I don't want to narrow it down to just Child Keenan. He's not the root of the problem. But I'm going to go ahead and give myself 5 progress there. So now we've gone up to 2.5 squares in our progress track, and we will continue on that as well. And now also, due to that, we can say that our bond, forging our bond with Kione, also increases. And we are now at a 6 with Kione. And so soon our bond will be complete, and we can forge a lasting friendship with Kione. All right, so now that is all over, I feel like I'm probably going to sojourn a little while again to help recover some of my stats here, because it was a trying time for sure. It was a trying time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sojourn with heart, and I'm going to get a +1 because I do have a bond with Valemark. And we are going to see if we can get a good sojourn roll here. A weak hit. Consider burning momentum to make it into a strong hit. I can choose 1 with this weak hit. I rolled a 4 and I got a 7 and a 1. I could burn momentum back down to a 2 and get a strong hit and choose 2 things. So I really need Consort to take 2 spirit or 2 supply. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and burn momentum and get a strong hit. So now we can do 2 categories. Alright, and that puts me back down to 2 momentum. And so with 2 categories, the first thing I want to do is I want to clear an unprepared ability and take a +1 supply. That is equipment. Okay, right? Yep. And then I also want to consort and take 2 spirit. Probably, yes. That'll put me back up to 4 spirit. Fantastic. So I spend the next few days after that very stressful thing, I spend the next few days resting and recovering there in my humble abode, and I feel good about the progress we made against the evils of the Child Keenan and the benefits we've had with our bond with Kione. And so, with that being said, that's going to bring this episode to a close. However, I will say that I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, be sure and hit that like button, subscribe to see more adventures of Dag of Valemark. Next episode, we'll probably start treating some more of citizens of Valemark and increase our experience with herbalism. And we'll still have our alchemy, even though it's been a long while. The results of that potion, I guess, stand true until we meet whatever this thing was. Let's see. Until their health, spirit, or momentum fall below +1. So until that happens, we continue to get the benefits of our shadow potion. So that's very powerful. It's a very powerful potion indeed. In fact, I could probably brew a potion before every adventure, maybe, if I had to make sure I have enough supply, because it could take up to 2 supply. So maybe at the beginning of the next episode, we'll go on a supply run and renew our supplies, but we'll see. But I will see you guys next time. Bye.